Hey everyone, it's Matt Johnson here again. This is the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. We've got Greg McDaniel with us as always. Greg, how's it going?
What's going on, Matt? How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. It's a sunny day, plus I have some simulated lights, so I'm looking very pale, but I actually am in full health. I am of sound body and mind, hopefully. We'll see.
Well,
Uh,
body. We'll see about the mind. That's a
yeah,
very true.
exactly. Greg, you're looking very tan today for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the shirt or if you got some sun, but
It's called falling asleep by the pool when you meant to go down for an hour and you're down there for 2 hours. It's gonna brighten up the old skin tone.
that'll do it. All right, and we are joined by a very special guest. This is Matt Scheid from Prime Seller Leads. Matt, how's it going today?
Great, great. Good afternoon.
Now you have this is a busy day for you because as soon as we're done, we were talking about this earlier. As soon as we get done filming, what are you doing, Matt?
I'm moving out of state. I'm starting a new chapter of life and moving to Boise, Idaho.
That's right. So literally, as soon as we are done recording, Matt is packing up some sort of contraption that I'm guessing is like a 1925 Model T with some luggage strapped to the top.
You remember the opening of Beverly Hillbillies? That's the picture that you need.
All right. Yeah, complete with a grandma and a rocking chair on top.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, we are here with purpose, and we've got a lot of content to go over. So let's jump in. So we want to get to Facebook ads, and that's where we'll spend a pretty good chunk of the time. But Matt also has some really good tips on Google pay-per-click ads. Matt, if you want to start by sharing just what is Prime Seller Leads and what gives you kind of the insight with the work that you've done and with some of the top clients around the country.
Okay. So Prime Seller Leads is a listing lead platform that we developed at the request of a couple of agents that we were doing other computer work for, SEO, content management, blogging, some top Remax agents, guys like Gary Ashton, Justin Haver. We did a lot of support for them, and they asked us to develop a listing platform that would consistently deliver listing leads. And so we built it out over a couple years, tested it with them, and launched it to the general public just about 2 years ago. And it's been really well received. We've got about 1,500 clients in the U.S., Canada, and Australia using the product with great success.
So you guys are actually managing pay-per-click campaigns to generate seller leads by sending them from a Google search to a landing page, and then doing all the back-end work, tracking them, and giving agents the ability to kind of automate and systematize their follow-up to actually convert the leads, right?
Exactly. Now, we don't necessarily always do pay-per-click or Google AdWords with a client. You know, some people we start with Facebook, others we start with AdWords. I've got some pretty good-sized teams that do a combination of multimedia. You know, they'll do Bing, Yahoo, Google, and Facebook. So part of determining where we want to start generating the leads has to do with the size of the agent's business, their ad budget, their market, where they are. All of those are factors that would kind of help us point them in the direction of getting started. But both Facebook and Google AdWords have some pretty great tools if you want to try and get started yourself, if you're on a little bit more of a shoestring budget and want to kind of ramp up, get some experience with it, and then have somebody help you manage. Both of those mediums would be the place to start, and they've got some great tools to point people in the right direction. I myself am not an expert in ads by any means, but I get to work with a team of ad managers. We have several people that just focus on managing ad campaigns on Facebook. I have other ad managers that work Google and Bing and Yahoo and the different pay-per-click options there. And so I don't necessarily work with the ads myself, but I work daily with the ad managers, and they tell me a lot of what's working and give me some of the information that we're going to cover today.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to get across is it doesn't matter kind of what stage you are as an agent if you're watching this, because the lessons and the experience that Matt's going to share comes from a lot of testing, and by working with some of the top agents, they're able to throw a lot of money, a lot of resources into the problem and really come up with essentially the best set of solutions that they possibly could, and then now we have kind of a set of best practices, I guess, in terms of knowing for sure, in general, what works in most markets and across those different platforms. So, Matt, we were talking before we went on the air, you haven't seen like a major difference between driving leads off of Google versus Bing versus Facebook, right? These are all just different tools in the tool belt?
Yes. I would say that, let me just back up just a little bit. So with internet leads, it's really important So agents throw around the word quality sometimes. Is a good quality lead or bad quality lead? And the philosophy of pretty much all of the coaches that we work with in our organization is that if you have a level, straightforward ad where you're not promising things like a gas card to check your value or a trip to Hawaii, if your ad says, do you want to see houses that are for sale, and you show people houses that are for sale, or if your ad says, do you want to know the value of your home because you're thinking of selling, and you show them the value of your home, it doesn't matter if Prime Seller Leads generates it, if Boomtown generates it, if Bold Leads, Tiger Leads, any of those companies, as long as the client is manually typing in their name and their email address, in other words, it's not auto-populating from cookies on their computer, then we feel that a lead is a lead is a lead. Now, that being said, Google AdWords leads typically come in $3 to $5 as an average more per lead than on Facebook. But what agents tell me is that they convert the Google leads at a slightly higher percentage rate because it seems like there's a little bit more intent behind the lead because the person is starting with a keyword search. Yeah. So the leads are more abundant and less costly on Facebook, but they seem to not convert at quite as high a percentage. It is not a huge difference. It's the difference between 1.5%, 2% to 2.5%, 3% kind of thing. But that's the feedback that I get. So an important thing to know is that if you start with pay-per-click on, for instance, Google, your leads are going to come in the, call it $6 to $12 range, whereas on Facebook in most markets we see the leads come in between $1 and $6.
Okay, interesting. And Greg, you have anything to add on that from your experience, or especially on the lead follow-up, treating a lead as a lead and making sure that your follow-up systems are in place?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get an internet lead, it's a large percentage of the time those people are just kind of kicking tires and wanting to see the value out there. But that is where your follow-up comes into play. Some of the structures that we put into play here. I mean, we are a client and Prime Seller Leads. Matt and I we're all talking about that off air before we got on. We also use Bold Leads and a few others. But what we do for follow-up that's most effective is that we call them 6 times in 2 days. So 3 times each day until we get these people to pick up the phone, and then we figure out where they are and we put them in the appropriate drip campaign so that people will then call us when the time is right. We actually just picked up a seller lead that turned into a listing because we put them on a drip campaign 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, it's funny you say that. We've been drilling down with a lot of our clients that get results every month. So not somebody that gets one month and then, but somebody who's consistently getting results every month with the product. And when we really drill down, we find that about 70% of the leads that they convert to listings are somewhere between 6 and 18 months old.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the client starting to do some research, trying to educate themselves before they're actually ready. And so it's really important to make that initial call, be really diligent about getting to them and not letting up until you connect with them and finding out, okay, is this something that's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months, or am I putting them in, you take the 98 out of 100 that say, I'm just curious, my dad built the house, you put them in your drip campaigns, and you'll see a high percentage of them reach out 6, 7, 8, 10 months down the road if you are diligent with your follow-up.
Yep.
And part of that is a balance. It's not sending them 15 things a month. Once you know they're long-term, it's 1 or 2 things a month kind of thing. You need to be balanced about it and send them relevant, valuable information. Do not fluff.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. The old stat that says that 80% of all sales are done between the 5th and the 12th contact. Well, you also have, there's a saying that we use on our team that my father, has been drilling into my head ever since I got in the business, and it is the people that you meet today are the people you're going to be doing business with tomorrow, aka it's not instant gratification. It's going to take a little bit of time. That's why it's called farming. It's going to take time to grow your results. So I'm on board with you, Matt. I'm so glad that you and I are speaking the same thing here. I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of agents, the majority of agents, they'll send 2 emails and call somebody, and for the most part, they're pretty much superstars. But we know that you got to be 6 to 12 times to really convert the majority of that business. And so one of the things I would tell people is whichever system you go with, try to find something that has a lot of automated follow-up. Texting campaigns, email campaigns, things where you can set and forget so that you're still working that database, but that it's not making you reactive in your business.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, set and forget. Those are the best things you can do. Go find the right follow-up scripts. I know you guys have a lot of that stuff already preset. You just need to put it into action. And actually, you and I are going to work offline, and we're going to get this thing tweaked a little bit because I need to know a little bit more about your system, and I'm extremely happy to be here with you. And everyone who's watching this, either live or in the recorded version, take notes, because what Matt's going to give you is going to give you basically the keys to the kingdom when it comes to getting quality leads, having the follow-up, then being able to get in front of them, and basically a step-by-step.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's jump into that part of it, and just how does someone, you know, they don't necessarily, they're not at the stage yet where they want to pay for someone to manage these campaigns for them. How does someone dabble and start generating a small flow of leads so that they can just get their own business and get to that, like, let's say the 2 to 4 deal a month level?
Okay, great question. So first thing you need is a system for the leads to go to and a landing site. And there's a lot of companies out there, Prime Seller Leads being one. You mentioned a couple, Bold Leads, Tiger Leads. So find a system that you can afford that allows you a landing site and a place to send the leads so that you can follow up with them. So that's step one. Once you have that, then it's a matter of just logging onto Google, typing in Google advertising, and the platform will pop up, and it will guide you through setting up a Google AdWords account. It's really pretty straightforward. I like to tell people it's so easy, even I could do it. So that part of it is very simple and straightforward, and they'll get you set up. They'll have you put your payment method in, and then you can set the budget that you don't want to exceed with Google, so that, you know, if there's a lot of traffic at your site, you don't all of a sudden get a bill that you're not expecting. So that's the first step, is to get that done. Now, once that's done, you need to build your ad. And a typical AdWord ad is basically a headline, a display URL, and then 2 lines of text. So depending on what you're advertising for, whether it be sellers or buyers, we'll stick with sellers for our example purposes, they typically start by needing to know what the value of their home is. So think about how you yourself would search for the value of your home. Search for the value of your home. Think about the words that you're using, the keywords, the things that you're typing in to find that information, and take some notes on that. From that point, Google has a tool called the Ad Preview tool, which again is right there in the Ad Center. There's a drop-down menu across the top. The Ad Preview tool will look at your ad and give you feedback based on relevance and what it sees based on other ads that are working and the kind of traffic it gets. So that's really kind of the first thing. So once that happens, then you let your ad run for a day or two. You'll start to see leads come in, and at that point, that's when you want to take a stop and really pay attention to what you're doing, or start really looking at what's going on. So you'll be able to go in and run a diagnosis report, and that will give you everything from, are your keywords being seen, how often are your ads going, you know, what are your impressions, you know, what are your keyword match types, and it'll go through those different things and list it out. And the data that it gives you, the information there, will pretty much tell you what you need to do or change to get the desired result. And I know that's a little bit ambiguous, but it makes more sense when you start to drill down and really see that. So,
yeah, and if anyone's setting up like a brand new, like, because I just went through this, you've heard about this, or maybe it was just me, but when I went to go, because I set up a new Google account, I wanted to do something different. I set up a whole new YouTube channel and wanted to run some ads, which you go through the same Google AdWords platform to run them on YouTube. So Google has the like the Adwords Express. So when you set up a new AdWords account, they want to funnel you right through building your first ad. So if you're not seeing like the drop downs and stuff like that, that just means, like, if it's a brand new account, just go through, set up like even if it's a dummy ad or something like that, just set up that first ad, and then it'll let you into the main control panel. You can like shut the ad down. You know, just that's what I did. I just built a dummy ad real quick basically, and then shut that down so that then I could get into the full tool.
Exactly. Good point. Thank you.
So yeah. So what's the next step from there? What are you? Yeah.
Well,
so
the results there will be, like I said,
to see some leads coming in.
So the results will point you in the right direction. One of the things you're going to want to take a look at too is what's called negative keywords. So negative keywords would be words that people will be typing in along the search lines of what they're looking for that may not apply to your ad. So I'm going to go back to the seller and use that example. So somebody's searching for what's the value of my house. The negative keyword that you would put in, for instance, would be doll. In other words, if somebody's searching for the value of their dollhouse, you don't want your ad to show, you don't want to pay for them to click through. And that's kind of a funny example, but that's kind of the easiest way for me to explain the negative keywords. And it'll prompt you on some of that stuff as well. So you want to make sure that especially when you're starting out, to make your budget go the farthest, that you get those negative keywords in there, and that will discount things that are non-relevant to your ad, things that aren't really, they're similar but that don't really pertain.
Now, so that would be something like if, since funny thing is, you and I are both sitting in the same city right now. You know, if you were to type in Alamo, if you were, what's my home worth in Alamo, but your negative keyword would be like Texas, right?
Right.
So you're looking at up the Alamo in Texas.
Exactly. Okay. That's another great example. Yeah.
And the location targeting in AdWords should, if it's a state-by-state thing, it should help with that. Now, what would be interesting is if you're searching from a neighboring suburb and you just type in what's my home worth or what's my Danville home worth and you want to eliminate yourself from working in Alamo, maybe you'll use Alamo as a negative keyword so that doesn't pick up people that may be in your area that are searching for similar keywords or areas that are in suburbs where you just don't want to work or something like that.
Yeah, maybe below your price point or something like that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you get to the, like, from working with some of the top agents, I mean, what are some of the tweaks and some of the experiments that you guys ran to figure out what works the best and what things are they kind of tinkering with that people can watch out for?
Honestly, most of the reports really do guide the user into the best possible use of their dollar. But one of the things I'm hearing that's getting some increasing click-through or increasing conversion percentage is the use of what's called call-out extensions. And call-out extensions allow you to associate key features of your product with your ad. So maybe you specialize in luxury homes, so you can have a call-out feature about being a luxury specialist in the San Ramon Valley, and that'll pick up some of the luxury traffic, or people that are doing broader keyword searches or more detailed ones with additional words. Those call-out extensions will allow you to highlight limited time offers, special features about your product, niche markets that you work, things like that that are important to the consumer but that are beyond just the value of my home search. And so that's kind of the newest thing that I'm hearing about people getting some positive results with, and that it's called call-out extensions. It's right there in the Google tool that you just mentioned.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So anything else that somebody needs just to get started and kind of get their feet wet in Google AdWords?
Not so much in Google AdWords, but I want to say this because it doesn't matter what the medium is. The most important thing is the follow-up. It's really being diligent and systematic. It really is important that the agent have systems in place. Greg, you mentioned that you have a specific system of 6 calls in 2 days.
Right.
It's very specific. You put every lead through it every time. That's part of the secret of success with internet leads, is that it's a numbers game and it's about working every lead the same way every time. You know, if somebody puts in a false name but they have a good email address, and I use this example because one of our agents actually converted Mickey Mouse. The lead came in, the guy put his name in as Mickey Mouse, but his email was real. And so our agent put him in his drip campaigns, and about 6 months later they sent him an updated estimate on his home value, and he emailed back because it pulled, hey Mickey, here's your updated, pulled the guy's name out of the database, and the guy emailed back a question about his neighbor's house selling for more than that, and oh, by the way, my name's Jim, not Mickey. And the agent actually ended up converting it. So, funny, but really actually prudent and smart. It really drives home the point that whatever piece of information that you get on a lead that is usable, use it. So if you get Mickey Mouse, or you'll get some funnier ones too, Richard Head and things like that. If you get any good information, use the information and do the follow-up on the lead. This is uncensored real estate, right?
Yeah. That's hilarious. Thank God I wasn't drinking my water at the time. I was all over.
We'll have to do a blooper show sometime, and I'll tell you some of the vulgar emails that we get. They're pretty comical.
Oh, I've seen. So I've received a few of them. Like, why the f do I have to fill this out? Right. And like, you're a blanking blank, and I'm like, all right, well at least you're communicating. We got to work on your verbiage, but
exactly.
Hey, Matt, question for you really quickly. So
sure.
And I don't know if we're digressing or moving forward here, but it popped in my mind. So can you upload, let's say you have a list of other buyers or sellers, can you upload them into Prime Seller Leads and put them into a drip follow-up campaign, not just the ones that come through your system?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, we've actually had a number of clients recently that have switched from other CRMs that cost a couple $100 a month and use ours as the funnel because it's got some robust tools. You can import leads in a batch or one at a time. We can also set up as many subdomains as you want, and now you can use if you have a park bench, you can use a specific subdomain there. If you have a billboard, you can use that. And as those leads come in from those subdomains, not only will they funnel into the same system where all your tools for follow-up are, but at the end of the year I can say, okay, your park bench did this for you. Your billboard did this, your newsletter did this, and then from there you can say, all right, I'm going to double up on the newsletter, I'm dumping the park bench, and I'm getting a shopping cart, because those, but you'll see what's working and what's not.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so you can set up as many domains, subdomains as you like.
Now, how much are we talking about? I mean, for the average agent on the street, if they want to generate enough traffic to the landing page to actually draw some usable conclusions to where they can kind of start tweaking things and move themselves up to the level where then it's worth paying someone to manage it, like what are we talking about spending as just a solo agent doing it themselves?
On Google, I would recommend people start at about $10 a day. And watch that. Watch how many leads come in. Check it every couple of days, and you'll be able to determine if you can, run with $10 a day, drop it down to $7, and see, do you still get the same number of leads? Do you get way less leads, and your lead cost triples? And you'll be able to kind of gauge that. So on Google, I would say start with about $10. On Facebook, we have a lot of people that start with $5 a day and do fine with leads. Once on Facebook, once you ramp up to $10 or $15 a day, it might make more sense to have somebody manage your ads, because now you're going to start seeing, call it 80 to 150 leads, in a month, depending on your market.
Yeah, way too much for one single person to work.
Yeah, at least not without the right tools and systems in place to be really systematic about it.
Yeah, and then that's when you start getting down and maybe refining where they're coming from or the quality of the lead.
Yeah, the targeting parameters that you put in with Facebook, it's tricky because you want to start with a broad reach. For instance, when we go into a zip code or an area, we typically say, show us everybody who's 33 years or older that owns a home. I want them to see the ad in this zip code. But then as we get in and we get a little feedback from the agent, or they start to see that there's a certain demographic group that they're converting, or an area that they're converting leads better at, they might say, hey, we want more leads out of here. We'll turn up the ad budget in that area and produce more of the leads that they're doing well with. Okay. That makes sense?
Yeah, and I want to touch real quick on just the content of the ad, because I've heard you mention this on another Hangout, and I want to make sure that people understand it if they haven't seen you speak elsewhere. But I just ran into, like you and me, Greg, we were talking with an agent that wants to run a different type of Facebook ad with a different offer. So Matt, you guys tested a lot of things, and for example, this particular agent wanted to run an offer. I think it was for an ebook download on how to sell their home. So why is the home is the home value tested? What if somebody wants to run some other offer other than the free home value?
Well, I would say it's a great idea to do that, because you want to test out as many ideas as you can and see, and obviously duplicate what's working and dump the stuff that's not. So I don't personally have any feedback as far as if you offer something like that. Offering something of value to the consumer, especially something educational, flows with what the majority of your coaches and trainers are going to tell you, which is to provide value first, and ask for business after that.
What we did is I thought I was really clever in the fourth quarter of last year. I said, you know what, I'm going to bribe people to work with me. So what I did is I put on Facebook an ad, and it said, buy or sell with the McGangle-Callahan team in Q4 of 2014, and we'll buy you a brand new iPad, iPhone, or iPad, iPhone, iPod. There's too many eyes.
Sure.
There's so many eyes. So self-absorbed. I. But I got about 0 response on that. The only person that took us up on that was our existing client. When he sold, he cleared $800,000 into his bank account. He still wanted his free iPad, and I'm like, "Come on, bud, unbelievable!" But then we ran get your free home value, right? Just like what you guys do over at Prime Seller, and bam, we got leads right off the bat. So in our experience, what we've seen is that when we offer something other than what they're looking for, it really it dilutes the effectiveness of it substantially.
Yeah, I think it's one thing if it's a branding campaign, or if you're running, like, as you can get, we'll get into this, but the Facebook custom audiences gives you the ability to load up your entire database or some segment thereof. So you have past clients, you have personal sphere. I mean, you can load them up, and as long as the list is big enough, you can load them as a custom audience on Facebook and run ads only to them. So if you wanted to run a referral style campaign, you can do that. It's just maybe not the best thing to go to the market at large, right, Matt?
Yeah, you know what? I think that the reoccurring theme that I hear from my ad managers is to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Every time we get smart and we add stuff in and add extra things, we see that we see it just, and as soon as
Yeah.
we strip everything, all the fluff off and just keep it very simple and straightforward, all of a sudden, the clicks come back up. So keep it simple would be the thing I hear the most from the ad managers.
Well, let's think about how we like to be marketed to. I mean, do you want to have an offer and then it's a bait and switch? You're like, no, damn it, I wanted this, not that. And then you go away and you probably wouldn't click back to it. I know there's a couple of sites I won't even go to anymore because I was so excited. I'm like, awesome, I found something I was looking for. And then I clicked on the ad and it was like, do this, do that, do this, and then we'll maybe send it to you. I'm like, no, you said free. And that's not free.
You bring up a really good point, Greg. One of the things that Facebook does is they monitor the people that are advertising, whether it's an agent who's having a third party post the ads or the agent doing it themselves or a business, and they will come through and freeze accounts, turn people off if they are not following what Facebook calls their advertising ethics policies. And one of the things that we've seen has had people's accounts turned off is that when they get to step 4, we offer them the value of their house. They come to step 1, we get their name and their email. Come to step 2, we ask them a couple more questions, and then we give them that value. Some of the smaller lead generation companies don't have that valuation model available, and what the customer ends up seeing on step 4 is a message that says, hey, thanks for checking your value, or you'll be contacted within 24 hours by an agent. Well, first of all, if they wanted to talk to an agent, they wouldn't be online looking for a free value because remember they're trying to educate themselves first. So
that is the classic bait and switch.
Yeah. So the other thing is if I'm generating leads for, let's say I'm generating leads for you, Greg, and I'm using, hey, check your home value and get a $50 gas card. I'm not doing a very good job for you because that person probably isn't even remotely interested in getting the value of their house, but they'd sure like a $50 gas card. And so the quality of that lead is going to be, very poor. And so I'm not doing a good job for you, nor is the agent running the ads for themselves doing anything for themselves by offering anything other than straightforward, simple ads and then providing what they offer.
Interesting. There's a lot of people that are moochers out there that would take it. And they would take the offer. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and Greg, we've talked about this in regards to open rates on your emails too, like your newsletters and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the position where you're sending something out to a group of people, you have no idea who's interested in real estate or not. Your objective is to not necessarily get the highest number of people to respond to something that you put out there. You want the right people to respond. So, like you said, Matt, a very simple, straightforward ad that gives them an incentive but is aimed at someone that's genuinely curious about their home value and that's all they get, it eliminates all those other people that might have other motives for clicking on the ad, and it restricts them to the people that you might actually want to talk about. Just like when you send out like a real estate newsletter by email, if 75% of the people are opening your newsletter, it's probably because they thought it was something else. I mean, that's the bottom line. So you're not trying, when you're sending something out like that to the marketplace, you're not necessarily trying to always max out the number of people that respond. You want the right people to respond. So
Yeah.
Quality
versus quality.
Real quick, speaking of simplicity, I wanted to show everyone, this is Greg's actual landing page with prime seller leads, and just to give everyone an example of just how simple this is. It's just how much is your X area home worth, and Greg has condo in there because of the specific area. So, and obviously that middle section where it says the unit number, in most markets where you're dealing with homes only, you cut that out. But it's literally just a picture of a home or a backdrop of some kind. The leading sentence, it gives them no option but the address and a button. So if somebody is building your own landing page with something like Unbounce or lead pages or whatever, if you're into doing it yourself, keep it extremely, extremely simple.
Yeah, one thing I would add on that is use homes that are indicative of the area. Now, you can use homes that are a little bit above your price point if you want, but don't show a San Diego estate in an inland. Use something, because here's the thing: is as much as people want to go online and get information, they still want to do business with people that are local. And so you want your site to appear hyper local. You want to show images that are indicative of where the person is doing the search from, so it feels local and has that local feeling.
Yeah, we had this conversation on our team the other day. We're making a brand new pamphlet. One of our company's agents out of our Walnut Creek office, she's just a master at marketing. She let me copy her booklet, right? Which if she's watching this, thank you so much. It is amazing. But the homes that she had weren't going to work for the areas that we work. So we went and changed it. And if you guys are thinking about this, maybe go take some pictures of your past listings. You know, that really nice home that you sold. Why don't you put those on the ads? They're going to be local. I mean, go ahead. I mean, that's what we've done, and it has worked out very well for us.
Yeah, we recommend that, and actually, if as a prime seller lead client, you can actually upload pictures directly that you want to show in the background there. So we will set up your site with what works and indicative, but you can definitely customize it with your own listings and things like that, and we do highly recommend that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to this is a while back, the CEO of TorchX, which is a really good website for agents, and they're known for their really beautiful, phenomenal photos. He says that's what they spend the bulk of their time on, is just finding those photos. So if you can get out and take some, or pay a photographer to go out and take some pictures that are hyper local and use that for the backdrop of your landing pages, all the better. So let's get into Facebook ads a little bit. So what's I guess, is there any differences there as far as just the very first baby steps to get into Facebook ads versus the Google pay-per-click?
Okay, so yeah, so a little bit different process. Typically, they want you to have a Facebook business page, and I might suggest that you set up a second business page, Facebook business page, if you have it, because you're going to associate the one for the ads with their Facebook business ad manager. And once you do that, you can't necessarily access it from the phone app that you have. And so we've had some agents who are very vocal and use their business page to post and boost and do things like that and communicate with their sphere. And if you're a person like that, you want to set up a second Facebook business page because it will be tied directly into the business ad manager. And the reality is we're not doing anything with your friends or your sphere or anything like that. We're just posting ads to the general public. So the way that the ads get posted is what's different. You typically start with zip codes, and the other thing is with Facebook, you can get extremely finite in who you're targeting. I want everybody who's 27 to 33 years old who has blue eyes and blonde hair in this zip code to see the ad, and literally those are the only people that see the ad. They really have an unbelievable amount of information about the consumers in the area. We always start with a very broad reach at first. We typically will come in with something like, let's say, okay, Danville 94526. I want everybody who is 28 years or older that owns a home to see Greg's ad, for instance. And that way, renters in Danville aren't seeing his ad, but people that do own homes and fit that age group or that demographic do. Once you start getting very targeted, age groups or other demographic groups, the cost per click goes up, and you're shrinking the reach of your audience. So you want to start broad and step in with the targeting and do it as minimally as possible to keep your audience broad and the quantity of leads coming in.
Another thing that I found on Facebook, life events. You can track life events. So, and this is the part that I love. Got engaged, just got married, had a kid.
That's
all
a big
these
one.
things. These are huge, and it's not just like I got married. It's like I got married 3 to 6 months ago, 6 to 12 months ago, last week. You can target companies. You can target specific interests. Do I like bike riding? Do I like hiking? Do I like boating? So you can run those, like Matt was saying, you run very, very specific ads to very, very specific groups. When we have done this, yes, the cost definitely does go up, but our return significantly jumped as well. Because I'm not talking to a 13-year-old girl who's on Facebook for the first time. That's not who I want. I want 25 and up. So yeah, the age and all those interests are phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. Especially if you're young in the business, to maybe not go after the 50 to 70 crowd.
They don't look like you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to go after them on Facebook, go after the people that are in your demographic and maybe the age group that are 5-6 years older than you, that relate to you at least and don't have a problem with you seeing you as an expert. So.
Yeah.
So you just have to set up a separate page basically, and then you're free to start running ads. Start broad, then get more detailed. So what's the next step from there? And is there any difference in the type of ad that you're running, or the content, the ad copy, or anything like that?
No, interestingly enough, the ad content and copy is the same. whether it's
Really?
where it's Google or Facebook. It's just how they're getting to that, how they're getting to that ad that is a little bit different. So obviously on Facebook, they're not doing any key, they're not searching for the value of their home. They're looking at their feed, they're looking at their family and friends, and all of a sudden an ad pops right in the middle of that feed with a beautiful home. It says, thinking of selling? Find out instantly what your home is worth. Or can you guess what your Danville home or condo is worth? Find out instantly with no obligation to get a free value report on your home. And so that's what we're starting with. Again, simple ads, nice pictures of homes that are indicative of the area. Keep the ad simple and to the point.
Matt, where do you find? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. We'll talk about it.
I was going to say, then just watch. Then I was just going to say, just watch your budget daily. Run with it at $5 for 3 or 4 days, and then run it up to $10 for 3 or 4 days. Because here's what you're going to be trying to find. If in some, let's say that if I come into Danville and I go $5 a day, my ad gets seen 5 times and 2 people click through, I have a $5 lead cost. But let's say that I come into Danville and all of a sudden I go to $15 a day. Well, now my ad gets seen 20 times and I have 4 people click through, and my ad cost, or my lead cost, is now $3 a piece. I don't think I did the math right there, but nobody used a calculator. But anyway, you see, my point is that at a certain point, if I go to $25 a day, my ad might be seen 50 times, but I'm still only getting the same number of leads. They're just costing me more. So part of what our ad managers do is they look for that sweet spot between enough views of the ad that you get a lot of leads coming through, but that the lead cost doesn't go up. And that's what you're going to kind of want to watch.
Facebook tries to help a little bit with a little barometer where you can see, it'll show you kind of on a graph how many people it's showing. So it kind of Facebook wants you to kind of find that sweet spot because they want you to keep running the ads. So they want the ads to be profitable for them, yes, but they also want the per lead cost low enough for you so that you keep advertising.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing that they're actually most concerned with, or their priority, is that the ad content is delivering value to their Facebook users, because ultimately they got to keep those users happy to keep people on there. So all of those things.
That's what's good about that type of ad, is it doesn't come across as self-promotional, self-serving. It's all about them. It's all about their home, and so it's fairly innocuous and non-intrusive. So I mean, you're not going to get overwhelmed and flooded with responses necessarily, but you'll get quality leads out of it, and it's not going to hurt their experience and give you a bad, it's not going to reflect badly on you for running that type of ad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Quick question, actually. I want to tap into 2 things. Matt, what's your opinion in regards to where do different leads live? In regards to do sellers live on Facebook, buyers live on Google Plus, or is there no discerning difference? There's been a debate on that.
I think that what we're finding is that all of those, there's different there's different people. There's the Generation X's. They like to email. They like to talk on the phone. You got your Ys and your millennials. They want to text. I'm having agents telling me they're getting a 30% response rate with texting and texting campaigns.
Whoa.
So one of the things I would say is that there's all these different groups, demographic groups, and each one of those groups has a different media type that appeals to them. And so what I would say is explore all of the options, but in your follow-up, mix up the media type: video, email, text, voicemail. Because what happens is when if somebody responds via text with them.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody gets on the phone, call them all the time and talk to them. But pick the medium that they choose to communicate in and exploit that with them and use that to your advantage.
100% agree with you. That's why I tell all the people that I coach over here at Rockcliffe that, speak to your clients the way they want to be spoken to. It's going to be a generational kind of gap there. Older folks, in-person meetings. Handwritten letter thank yous, a lot of that kind of stuff. I thank you for finally telling it to the world.
Yeah, I mean, it really use all the tools that are available to you, and roll with what works, but test everything would be the key.
So there's no real delegation of sellers live on Facebook, buyers live on Google Plus. Because I tried buyers on Facebook, and I came out with a big donut.
Yeah, it's tough. We've played around with buyers on Facebook too, and we're much more effective with buyers on Google because they're searching for something specific: homes for sale in Danville, condos for sale in Danville. And so the way that they're doing the search is what's finding them there. You might stumble upon somebody on Facebook who's interested in buying a house and get lucky, but it just isn't where you're finding your buyers because they're doing that keyword search. So yeah, you're right. I would say that age-wise, you can kind of say, yes, the baby boomers and the X's, like me, we're on Google, we're doing keyword searches. The millennials, the Ys, they're much more versed on social media and using that as their preferred thing. The interesting thing about Facebook, you know, the younger crowds are going with Twitter and some of the other sites that are out there, Instagram, Snapchat, and things like that. But the reason that we see longevity with Facebook is that as much as the younger generations might jump around between different websites, you got your X's and your baby boomers, being the X, but the baby boomers are on Facebook, and that's how they communicate with their kids. That's how they see their grandkids and their nieces and nephews. And because Facebook has the baby boomers, they're here long term, because the baby boomers aren't going to jump around and try all these different websites or different communication mediums, but you know, the younger crowd will, you know, which is evident by Twitter's popularity.
Yeah, so the younger generation almost has to sign up for Facebook just because baby boomers and Gen X already has.
Right.
And they can jump around and play with other stuff outside Facebook, but they're at least, like, Facebook is becoming almost like an email account.
Right. If they're on Facebook, they can message mom and dad, whereas if they're not, they actually have to call and talk to them.
Oh, that sounds horrifying.
Oh, talk to my parents? No. Oh, wait, I work with mine.
I was going to say, you probably rubbed elbows this morning. All right, so Greg, this is something you pointed out before, but I want you, if you want to get a little bit more specific, I would love if you do that. So you have your Facebook ads built on by somebody on Fiverr.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to get started and they're like, I have no idea. I mean, I obviously, Matt, you gave us some of the phrasing. Greg, what are you going and how are you getting that ad built? What's it looking like, and what are you telling them when you're asking them to build that ad?
I say, hey guys, I want to, or I select my person up there. I just got a brand new one on Fiverr. I'll talk to them about it in a second. But you just do it very, 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 very minimalistic. So, like Matt was saying, less words, put some graphics in there. And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Facebook's rules have changed, and I think you can only have like 20% of that ad be verbiage now. The rest has to be image.
Yeah,
is that right?
It is. There is some requirements on that, and again, I don't post ads daily and work with the system itself, so it cues you up on that, and it's really good about telling you when it's not okay. So
yeah, and Facebook has to approve the ad, so they'll say it's either good or not good. So you can go back to your individual on Fiverr and say, hey, pal, you know, this wasn't approved. This is what they told me. Please correct it. Generally, when you're getting your ads built, verify to the fact that whoever you hire will give you unlimited redos until that ad is absolutely ready to rock and roll. Also, do your research and find out the appropriate pixel sizes for your ads so that they're optimized wherever you're going to run it. I've run into that problem there, but when I ran my first one, now keep in mind, I didn't have prime seller leads. I didn't have any other resources. I was just throwing something at the wall to see if it stuck. And I put it like, I don't know, $10 or $15 a day. I just said, screw it, let's do it, just like Branson does all the time. But, you know, I put the ad on, and then that night, it was a Friday night, I was barbecuing with a bunch of buddies, and all of a sudden my phone just kept lighting up. When I ran that ad, I got anywhere from 6 to 15 leads a day. It was a tsunami of leads, and if I had had prime seller leads with the drip and the follow-up and the text and all of those things where Matt's talking about, I know that I would have been able to convert. I just had to shut it off because it was too much. But Fiverr is uniquely awesome for doing this stuff, and you can, if you've never seen it or heard it, you can go on there and get anything done, what they call Fiverr, for $5. Now there's upgrades and everything else. We're launching a new ad today. It's a whiteboard. It's a 30-second little whiteboard thing telling the story of, you know, Bob and Sue need to sell their home for the best, highest amount of money, so they called the McDaniel Callahan team. We told a success story through a new medium, through a quick little video that we'll start playing. So we'll see how that works. And I'm really, Matt, I'll follow up with you after we run this thing for a week or two, and I'll give you some feedback on it.
I would welcome that. Any data we can get on what's working and what's not, we're all about it.
Yeah. Okay. You guys want to give me free access to your account? I'll give you all kinds of feedback.
So, I think the connection went bad there. You cut out.
I'm sorry. Come again?
Exactly.
Oh, that was awesome. Okay.
You know, one of the things we haven't touched on that is that I'd like to throw out there is remarketing.
Yeah.
And you can do it in a number of different ways. Facebook has it, Google AdWords has it, there's another source called AdRoll that has it. But this is where when somebody lands at your landing site, you can get tracking codes from Google, you can get tracking codes from Facebook, and then you can buy impressions. And what happens is when the person comes through your landing site, the computer cookies their browser, and then subsequently as they travel around the web, over on the right side, they're going to see ads for the McDaniel Callahan team. And those ads are branding ads, because now we're not necessarily trying to get people to click on that ad and drive you business. What we're trying to do is make McDaniel Callahan, I need to see that 6 times. Now it's something real in my head. I use the Geico example. I'd be willing to bet neither one of you guys have Geico insurance, but I know that you can get 15% off if you go to geico.com because you've seen, the lizard on TV, you've heard it on the radio, you get a piece of mail. But we see things a number of times and it becomes real. And so remarketing is a very powerful way and very cost-effective way to boost your brand amongst the leads that you've already invested in.
That's fantastic. I'll tell you a story. A couple months ago, I had moved into my new place, renovated it, and the only thing I was missing was a barbecue, right? And so I was researching, and I kept on kind of coming back to Weber barbecues. And I'd click on it, I'm like, oh, it looks so good. Then I'd click away, I'd go do something else, and I'd pop up like, ooh, there's that damn barbecue. Man, that must be expensive. Well, there it is again. Guess what barbecue I got?
A Weber.
A Weber. Funny how that works.
Yeah, I mean it's really cost effective. You can get hundreds or even I don't know the exact numbers, hundreds, thousands, but it's very cost effective. And then those impressions show, and they, some I've heard people refer to it as stalker ads, but it basically is a branding tool that's going to follow them around and build your brand. Really cost effective because it's when they're online that it's visible. Yeah. So, and it can also be your brand with a a special offer. Maybe your ebook download or something like that. That would be a great place to bring that in with your branding. So now you can offer a little bit more value over here, but you're keeping your core ads simple and straightforward to keep the lead flow coming in.
Yeah, that's a great point because that type of thing would actually move them not only further down the funnel, but it allows you an opportunity to maybe ask for an additional piece of information. So let's say you got their name and their email up front during the lead capture process, then maybe you can ask for something else. You've got their address, then you can ask for either more detail on their home, when they're planning on moving, just something they're in exchange for another piece of value like an ebook download. You could ask for some other piece of information to figure out kind of where in the funnel they're at.
Yes.
So there's always possibilities like that. Another way that you can remarket, because you brought this up, Matt, is going back to the idea of taking your entire database, and hopefully agents have their database in some type of CRM system, whether it's prime seller leads or something, something other than an email sign-up sheet or their
sticky notes.
Sticky notes. Oh, good Lord. So hopefully you have an email list of some kind. So what you do in order to get that up into Facebook, there is a little bit of prep work to do, which is kind of annoying, but you have to create another version that's just email. So you literally have to strip out all the other information, and then Facebook will allow you to upload that list as a custom audience. So if you go into your ads manager and go to I believe it's audiences, you can go and create a custom audience, and basically you can remarket, and you can do a branding campaign or some type of value add to everybody that's already in your database, which could be your past clients, maybe just everybody that you know on a personal level. Hopefully it's people that would actually refer you business, and you can run either referral contest or you can just do branding campaigns. But that's another form of remarketing, except that it only runs on Facebook. It doesn't follow them around the web, so it's a little less stalkerish.
Well, and I'll tell you, a great thing is when you get a listing. Now you can post a link to that listing to every one of your people in your Facebook, and that obviously drive relevance and business and everything else. But I've got a lot of agents that do that. Every time they get a listing, they'll post a link up to all their Facebook users who will see it and can click on it and do the virtual tour, and they get a lot of traffic that way.
One thing that I do for getting a listing is I go out and I use my handy dandy iPhone here. And I will turn the camera around and I will point the camera right back at me, and then I'll kind of slowly rotate to give people a view of what the house looks like. I talk and I give them a local verbal overview. I did one 48 hours ago. I have over 500 views. And I didn't promote this. I didn't do anything. I just tagged my team members, my brokerage, my lender, all kinds of stuff. So that works really well as well to show success to your Facebook group.
Yeah. If you have success with that type of thing, I might recommend that you check out a company called BombBomb.
Yep.
They've got a service that helps you do videos, upload it with your branding and your name and your information across it. My brother is a land panel agent in Walnut Creek, and he did, of all things, a video on how to clean out the dryer vent. Because so many fires a year happen with that. He got like 600 views and comments and likes and everything. But I mean, a silly little thing like that, a little video on how to really effectively clean out your dryer lint so that you don't have a fire, and he got tons of exposure for it. So. Yeah, I love video and highly recommend that if you get the chance to do it, work it into your medium, because it takes the dynamic different, especially video responses. When a lead comes in, you can have a video go, hey, this is Matt. Thanks for checking your home value at danvillehomevalue.org. I noticed that those values are 20, 30, gosh, sometimes even 35% off. I'd love to have a quick conversation with you, ask a couple questions about your property, and then I can give you a very accurate value. And if you need, I can give you the supporting information, things like homes in your neighborhood that have sold recently that are like yours. How many days on the market it would be. Anyway, I'm looking forward to talking to you. I'll call you between 4 and 6, but you can leave information like that and draw them in that way as well.
So you'd use that as a campaign, an email campaign, so you'd make the video. It would be canned. It wouldn't be like, hey, Matt. It would be like, hey, thanks so much for taking a look at this, blah, blah, blah. That kind of a format?
Right. It seems personal, but I kept it generic so it could be used for anybody that checked their value at, at Danville Home Values.
Right.
And now when I receive that as a client, now I see you, I hear you. It's a much more personal thing, and the reception after the video goes out is much, much higher. You get a lot more pickups and a lot more responses after they've seen that video.
Yeah. Well, I'm addicted to video. Matt knows this. He's worked with me for a while now. I love this camera, and I love, because like you're saying, Matt, you see the personality. You're not a stagnant, image like, you're actually, being a human, and they'll either like you or not like you right there.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they like you.
Well, one thing I wanted to get to
I like
before
you,
we wrap
Greg.
up is,
Thanks, Matt. I made a new friend today.
What's if somebody's starting out, which would you recommend somebody tinker with first? Google AdWords or Facebook, and why?
Okay, so I would say that's a little bit of a loaded question. My knee-jerk reaction would be Facebook, because it's a little simpler to get started and get leads coming in. And if you're just starting out, part of what you want to get used to is acclimate to the follow-up, the scripts that work for you and are natural and that kind of thing. So it's a little less expensive, a little easier with Facebook. If you're a little bit more established and have a little bit more of a budget and have a little bit more team support to where you can focus a little more time, Google's a great way to go. But I would say start with Facebook, then test Google, and again, work with what works best for you.
Yeah, and then so let's say they move up those levels and they've done some work with Facebook. So what's the entry point at which they can start like working with someone like you guys to have someone just manage the optimization of the campaign so that they can focus on the client side?
We have a $99 service where we'll manage one ad campaign on one medium for folks, basically in one area. So you'd be about 158 with us, and then you'd have your $5-7 a day on Facebook. Once you get up about $10 a day, it might make sense to have our managed service where we're daily managing your ads, changing, reposting ads, changing the demographics, looking at the people that are coming through. Are they desktop or are they mobile? And do we optimize based on desktop or mobile and things like that? And so as your budget increases, you get a little more bang for your buck having somebody manage your ads.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have 1 minute left, because the one other thing I wanted to throw in there is the big mistake that I see people make a lot of time when they get started with internet leads. Is they get an internet lead comes in, they grab the phone, they call them up and say, hey, this is Matt with ABC Realty. So when are you planning to buy or sell a home? Click. Seriously, click. The people hang up. The customers, when they're buyers leads, and the customers when they're seller leads, they're not looking for an agent. They didn't type anything about buying or selling their house. They were looking for information on what their house is worth. So gear your follow-up to that. Hey, this is Matt from Danville ABC Realty. I saw that you checked your value at variablehomevalues.com. You know, those values can be pretty far off. I'm going to give people correct information between 4 and 6. Gear your follow-up towards what they were looking for. They were looking for information, and your immediate goal should be, can I stop by tomorrow for 5 minutes and get my eyes on your property? Because then I can give you information that's valid and real. And I can put it in whatever perspective, format you need. Maybe this is for estate planning. Maybe this is for taxes. Maybe you're thinking of selling your house. But I can give you all the information that you need and put it in a format that makes sense for you. But the thing I would say is if you get those appointments, keep it to 5 minutes. Be brief. Get in and out and give them the information. Make eye contact. Shake hands. Get through the door jamb. And then do your normal realtor thing,
Do your normal realtor thing. I love that. Good Lord, that can probably maybe a little ugly at times, but anyone who would just watch that, write that script down.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm going to make that a staple in what I did to do for follow-up. Because hey, face it, guys, I'm an agent too, just like the rest of you watching, and I trip over my tongue all the time. And I think that approach, Matt, was super soft. And it was giving them what they want, it was acknowledging them, and then it was giving them the option, hey, look, I'm not calling for the listing, it could be for an estate sale or for taxes, and you might be thinking of selling your home, so they can pick one of the other two right up front, but then you get to drip and follow up with them because you have your contact information. So, fantastic.
Yeah, it's not a solicitation call. It's more like when the dentist calls you to remind you of your dentist appointment. It's an administrative call. Hey, you were looking for information. It wasn't very accurate. Let me get over there and give you what you really need. Does tomorrow at 11 work?
It works. Just do it.
Yep. Yeah, that's the main thing. Pick up the phone and make the call.
Yeah,
more than one time.
Follow up. So we were talking with me and Greg did a kind of an expired listing mastermind with Aaron Wittenstein, who runs the lead generation scripts and objections Facebook group. So we're talking about expired listings, and most of his expired listings that he takes, he has to follow up with for what did he say, like between 5 and 12 months to get them finally relist. Now those are expired listings. Those are people that put their home up on the market, already took that step, and it's still taking, there's still a lot of follow-up involved, even with those people that already jumped in and put their home on the market. So imagine with the typical homeowner who's just dipping their toe in the water and looking at house values, it's going to take a while. Have your follow-up plan in place before you try to turn on the faucet of leads.
Yeah, be patient with these things. They're going to take a little while. Just be patient. Keep filling that glass up, right? Because when marketing, farming, online, offline, whatever it is, if you're filling up a cup of water, right, and that's what your hard work is going to do, and as soon as that water starts pouring over the edge, that's when the leads, the business, the contracts, the buyers, that's when they starts flowing. But you got to keep, like, prime seller leads, you got to keep other veins of business consistently speaking to your clients, future clients, past clients, friends, family, and everything else. So, yeah, it just persistent and consistent. That's what I got to say.
Cool. Well, Matt, if somebody wants to take that next step and get in touch with you guys, what's their best place to go, and what's the best first steps for them?
You can get me via email. I welcome anybody to email me at matt@primesellerleads.com, and I'm happy to pick up the conversation with you. Even if you're looking at our $59 service, I'm happy to go through with what that entails and how it works and talk to you about what it is that you need. And then our website, primesellerleads.com, is also a great place to start. There's an 800 number there, too, where you can reach our home sales staff and support staff at our home office in Naples. So either one of those, but matt@primesellerleads.com would be great. I'd love to talk with anybody.
Awesome. Well, hopefully some people take you up on that, or at the very least, if they're just dipping their toe in, definitely dip your toe in with some Facebook ads, get them running, get your follow-up system, start working on your scripting, and go from there. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. You gave a ton of information. I knew you would, but this is really, really good.
No, I really appreciate the chance to be here, Greg. It was great to meet you, and I think we would love to do this again. Maybe we can have a script conversation and talk about some different scripts for beyond just leads, expireds, FSBOs, all that stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And Matt, hey, good to meet you too, bud, and we will connect offline. I'm deadly serious. I need some help. You are the man.
Awesome. I'll be there to help you. You guys have a great afternoon.
All right, thanks so much, guys.